and then seeing him say that so openly, and like
What did he
teachers are not
say?
supposed. What?
What did he say?
He said the normal things like, hi, the immigrants are here to take our jobs, and you should like use the opportunities of your country.
So I started this hashtag called Being Black in St. Louis Schools. And then I also started another hashtag called Being a Student in St. Louis Schools. And both of the hashtags are hashtag Being BIS, BISS 2020, and Being CIS, SISS 2020. And the reason why I decided to start the Being CIS 2020 was because a lot of people were saying that they were with the Black people in the movement in solidarity, and they really wanted to talk about stuff, but they said, I don't know how to help because I'm not Black. And I said,
Yeah.
well, no, you still have to share. So I wanted everybody to be able to vocalize whatever it is that they went through, because, you know, some people do have valuable stories that are just as valuable to the hashtag. So the reason why I have Giulia Silva here,
Yes.
is because we went to the same school. I went to Rockwood Summit High School, and she was actually a foreign exchange student. So tell me a little bit about how you got to Rockwood Summit.
Okay, it's a long story actually. I started my exchange year, I think August of 2015. And first I went to Ferguson. I used to live in Berkeley. And I went to a school on the Ferguson district. I used to study in McCluer High School. And then I had to change, like I think on December. It was the beginning of winter. Yes, winter. And then I had to change. I had to move because I moved host families' houses, and then I ended up in Rockwood. When I got to McClure, I thought it was amazing, but I started seeing some things that were not so good. So before I went there, I saw that the school was like, they had a rank from 1 to 5, and the school was actually like a 1 or 2. So they weren't very good on the rank. And I could see that some teachers were like very tired, of their jobs, because there were lots of fights on the school. So that was like something hard for the teachers as well to deal. That was something that I saw. But then when I went to Rockwood, my mind was blown, because I couldn't believe like a public school could be like that, because public schools in Brazil have nothing. They have no toilet paper, they have no toilet seats, like professors don't go, and the state doesn't pay them well, and we have nothing. Like, we don't have football courts. We have one soccer court, but it's usually very small. There are no like labs or photography classes. There are nothing like that. So when I was already amazed when I got to McClure, but when I got to Summit, it was crazy. Like, I've never seen something like that in my life, and I thought it was really, really nice. But then I started seeing that it's not very fair, because in Ferguson, like, they didn't have budget for so many things, and I know that the students there, they struggled with the project. Like, I was in the band there, and I know they didn't have many instruments or things like that. And places like Summit, because it's a completely different district, and with people that are wealthier, they have so many more opportunities. And that, even though the school was amazing, the school itself, the place, it was incredible. I felt much happier in McClure and much more accepted there.
Why did you feel more happy in McClure and more accepted in McClure than you did Rockwood Summit?
Because of the people, mostly. Like, I loved many teachers at Summit, but many of them I had like arguments and discussions about like immigration and things like that. And that didn't really used to happen in McCluer. People were so much more accepting of like other cultures or foreign people. So I felt more welcomed there. People at Rockwood are like more closed-minded, you know, and they don't seem to want to have content, or they just really don't have any contact with other countries. So I remember, I will never forget that I was like walking through the hallways, and then I saw a world map, like a worldwide map, and the US was in the middle. And I was like, what what is that? How? What? Like, what are you teaching here? That's crazy. And talking to the students, they didn't know anything about geography, like world geography or world history. And like, I think that lack of information just makes them even more closed-minded, because they don't have like nothing to actually see and break those stereotypes, you know. There was another exchange student with me. She was also Brazilian, and sometimes we used to speak in Portuguese, like on the hallways before the classes starts. And in Summit, I used to hear all the time, like, you're in America, speak English, blah blah blah, or people just, you know, making fun because we are talking in our language. And we used to like, just to make fun of them, we used to sit down in the hallways and talk random words like rice, beans, meat, lettuce in Portuguese, so people would think we were talking about them. So I could notice that. And on Summit, I could hear a lot of comments from the students, like talking about the Black students there, talking about the immigrant students there, because most of the people that I talked there, or they were my friends, were like the immigrants. So I had friends from like India, or I was also friends with the others exchange students, but people from there, like American people that were students on the school, I had very, very few friends, because they didn't want the content, you know. And like talking about immigrants, I remember I was in a American government history class, if I'm not mistaken. And then we were talking about immigration. And the teacher was like, he was making, like, we were supposed to discuss as a group, and like as the students, but we could clearly see in what side the teacher was, you know. And I got extremely mad, because even though I was an exchange student, so I was there legally, my family at the time, my mom was an immigrant. She was living in Florida, and I was extremely scared, like, for all the situation. And because I was like far from her, I didn't know what was going on, I didn't know how people were treating her. And then seeing him say that so openly, and like,
What did he
teachers are not
say?
supposed. What?
What did he say?
He said the normal things like, hi, the immigrants are here to take our jobs, and you should like use the opportunities of your country and everything. And he was like, he asked me if I used to go to Amazonia all the time. He had this like very, you know,
Mm-hmm.
terrible comments. And I know that he was making them to piss me off, you know, because I never like stayed quiet. I will always say what I want and like what I think. And especially on this situation, when I figured out that some students from like St. Louis were being sent there to study, I thought it was really nice, the project. But I started seeing how the students on Summit treated the students that came from like the other districts, or from other schools. And it's a lot of racism, like in Brazil. The racism and this like race war, it's very common, and I could see in the US it's very common as well. And just like watching, you know, like on the bus station or like on the subway station, you could listen and hear some comments. And I'm very aware of that, because I come from, and because of what I believe in Ferguson. As it was like the majority of the students were Black, So I felt from them like the anger and everything else that they go through, you know, not like at the school because most of the students were black, so I didn't see a lot of racism going on inside the school between the students, a little bit with the teachers, like the teacher student relations, but I felt like the anger and the problem that was going on.